Hi, I'm Old Norse specialist Dr. Jackson Crawford, and on my channel devoted to Norse language, myth, runes, etc., I often read in my reconstructed 1200s Old Icelandic pronunciation. This is Icelandic as it would have sounded in the 1200s when the Eddas and sagas were written down for the most part. Linguists are able to reconstruct the sounds of that language by triangulating back from its modern descendants, from comparison with the work of the first grammarian who wrote in 1140 about the sounds of Old Icelandic at his time, and from comparison with other related languages like English, German, Dutch, etc. So we're quite confident about the sound of that language in the 1200s. But Patreon supporters like Blake Winter and Stuart DeHaan have asked for what would Old Norse have sounded like when those poems were actually composed? What would they have sounded like in the Viking Age? That's a taller, more difficult order, but I'm going to offer a sample here. All right, so just remember, if you're new to this channel, this is not supposed to sound like Icelandic today. It is supposed to not sound like Icelandic today. This is supposed to sound like Icelandic in perhaps around 900. We tón heimdallar, hljóð fólkið, undir heiðbónum helgum baðmi, a ser hon ausask, ergum forsi, af veði valfóðrs, vittuð inn eða what? Ein satt hon úti, þás in aldne kom, yggjungr ansa, auk auga leit. Hvers fetnið mig, hví fristið mín, alt ek óðinn, hvar þú auga falt, innum mera mýmisbrunni, drekkur mjóð mýmir, morgen hverjan, af veði valfóðrs, vittuð inn eða what? Valði henni herfóðr, hringa á menn, fekk spagleg á spaganda, sa hon vítt á vítt af veröld hverja, sa hon valkyrjur, vítt komnar, gorvar að ríða til goðþjóðar, skuldheld skildi, en skókul onnur, Gunr, Hildr, Gondul, auk ger skókul, nú taldar, nonnur herjans, gorvar að ríða, grund valkyrjur. Sá baldri, blóðgum tífur, óðins barni, urlog fólkin, stóð vaksin, vallum herri, mjór auk mjókvagr, mistiltein. Varð af þeim meiði, mer syndisk, harmflaug hettlig, nam skjóta, Baldurs bróðir, was of boren snemma, så nam óðins sonr, ein nettr vega. Haft så hon liggja, under hverja lundi, lägjarn líki, lokka á þekkjan. And I'll give you a little bit of meta information about this after reminding you that if you would like to support this channel, one of the best things you can do for it is to go to grimfrost.com and get your Viking and Viking related gear there. My good friends and partners at Grimfrost are actually bringing us to Sweden for the last couple weeks of June, where I'll do some talks and make some videos at Runestones like I did a few years ago there. And they're just great guys who really care about getting that stuff right. You can also find my books, including the second edition of the Poetic Edda, which is going to debut in September.
Did you tell people about our merch?
There's also new merch on Fourth Wall, right? Mm-hmm. So Lauren took my cool logo designed by Justin Baird a few years ago, actually during that Sweden and Finland trip, and put it on a bunch of great stuff, high quality ceramic mugs, there's water bottles, there's t-shirts, several different designs actually of different mugs and things like that, right?
There's even a crop sweatshirt.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, check that out. And speaking of books, there's also the Wanderer's Journal, which you can get everywhere now. These are blank journals where I take all my notes for videos now. And they also feature quotes from Hávamál done in Viking Age, Younger Futhark runes, together with my Cowboy Hávamál translation. Now, what are some of the things that are different from the, well, both modern Icelandic language and the languages I reconstructed for the 1200s? Well, one of the biggest things is, you might notice, I'm not saying V's as approximants or fricatives. I'm saying those as W's, as they probably were back then, and they probably were even more recently in East Norse, like Swedish. I am trying to do nasal vowels and trying not to make them too exaggerated, but trying to distinguish them. So in a word like hon, she, which also has a long vowel at this point. Lots of the, like also henne, not henne, has a long vowel that would be nasal. Trying to do a little bit of an uptone on second syllables in words. Auga, mimir, a little bit like modern Central Swedish or some dialects of Norwegian. It's, I think, more likely that Danish and Icelandic have lost those tones than that Norwegian and Swedish became tonal since Old Norse, since where the tones are is based on how many syllables you've got in Old Norse. But that's a difference. I'm also trying real hard, and it is a challenge, to consistently distinguish long, as in longer in duration vowels from short vowels, and to do the same thing with consonants. Odin, right? Odin has is that hold on those two ends. It's not just Odin, Odin. And trying real hard, also very difficult to do, is the R that isn't its own syllable in a word like drekr, right? Drinks. It's pretty hard to do, but probably at this time, that's still at least not perceived as its own syllable. It's coming from an older Z. I don't think it's a Z at this point anymore, but it's coming from an old Z. And so they're still pronouncing it as one with the syllable that precedes it. And in poetry, it's treated as if it's one with the syllable that precedes it. Also doing some older forms of some words like auk instead of ok, instead of and then making when it's the particle actually work as sort of a prefix on the word following and not saying it separately, right? Vaksen, not vaksen. It's sort of treating it as if it's like gavaksen or something like that in Gothic or Old English. What I read from there were stanzas 27 to the first half of 33 in the Codex Regius text of Völuspá. At the time, that would have been probably pronounced something like Völuspá, the prophecy of the witch Osiris. This is the first poem in the Poetic Edda. And those stanzas, because of the way that they so consistently use the particle as it would have been placed as a prefix in Gothic or Old English, I think are probably a pretty archaic piece in Völuspá. I agree with Christopher Sapp that Völuspá looks for the most part like it's a work of the 900s, but I think those stanzas are particularly old. So it seemed like a good choice for showing off a little bit of what Viking language would have sounded like. Not just Old Norse, but Viking Age Old Norse. So there is a reason and behind the madness here. There's a reason and a research behind it. And I hope this has been somewhat interesting for you. Oh, I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Evan of Thunder God Forge, who used to be in Colorado. He made me this lovely knife. You can get your own from him. He has left Colorado for Oregon. I guess that was a little more affordable for him. It's amazing to say that these days. But he is still manufacturing knives on his own. He makes really high quality stuff, so see if there's something he could make for you. Thunder God Forge. He's a really, really nice guy. Great friend of the channel. Well, for now, thank you, Patreon. Thanks to those out there buying my books. Looking forward to the second edition of the Poetic Edda coming in September. And from beautiful Colorado, we're wishing you all the best. Hey folks, we're just here at Boulder Bookstore where I've been signing books again, and for the first time signing the Wanderer's Journal. So if you'd like to get an autographed version of that, go to the link at the Boulder Bookstore. What do you think of this behind the scenes look at the bookstore?
I want all the books.
They encourage that attitude.